With it being Thanksgiving week, I'm on the road with my family, so I'm not posting new episodes. Instead, on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday this week, I'm sharing different compilations of your most listened to My Good 3 episodes. So I'll see you with a new show the Monday after Thanksgiving. Thank you so much for being a listener. I hope everyone takes a moment this week to check in with how much they're thankful for. I know I will. I hope you enjoy. Modern neuroscience tells us that instead of writing down things we're thankful for in a journal, simply listening to and connecting with positive stories about people can better help shift our immune system into balance. It can help us move from a state of constant anxiety towards motivation. So 3 days a week, I'm sharing stories we can feel good about. Mondays, you'll hear a story from the past to be thankful for. On Wednesdays, I'll tell an inspiring story from the present. And Fridays, you'll head into the weekend with a story to keep you optimistic about our future. Hi, I'm Chris. Welcome to My Good 3. Happy Wednesday, everybody. This is Chris. For our first Wednesday episode, I have something that happened at the end of August of this year near Tacoma, Washington. It's a story about taking care of people in need, people you may not know, and where that can lead. When Ursula Bannister set out on a hike to High Rock Lookout, an overlook with a view of Mount Rainier near Ashford, Washington, she was confident. It was the exact same hike she had done every year for the last 23 years. The lookout was the spot where she had scattered her mother's ashes years ago. So each year, she hiked to the same spot to lay flowers down in her mother's memory. Except this time, for the first time, she was hiking alone. Ursula, at the age of 79, wasn't concerned about her safety on the 3.2-mile trail. She was still in good shape, a strong hiker, and plus, she had done the hike so many times before. She parked her car at the trailhead around 11 a.m., and it wasn't long after midday when she reached the lookout. She enjoyed some time honoring her mother. She placed the flowers down and then headed back down the trail. As she descended, Ursula caught her foot in a hole, lost her balance, and fell forward. When she went to get up, she looked down at her leg and saw her foot was pointed in the wrong direction. At that moment, she knew she had badly broken her leg. In excruciating pain, Ursula began to scream for help. Eventually, a man arrived and immediately called 911. He was told it would be 5 hours before a search and rescue team could reach their location. Then, 3 more people arrived at her side. Troy May, an airman stationed at nearby Joint Base Lewis McChord, his fiancée Leighton Allen, and his friend Tim Meyer. Seeing how much pain Ursula was in, the prospect of a 5-hour wait just for a medical team to get to her didn't sit well. So immediately, Troy knew what he was going to do. He'd carry Ursula on his back to the trailhead so she could receive medical care more quickly. Tim was a physical therapist, so he constructed a makeshift splint, and soon they were headed down the trail as a team. Ursula was in a lot of pain, so the others worked to distract her by asking her questions about her life. Before long, they were all riveted by her amazing story of immigrating to the United States from Germany in 1959 when she was only 14. It wasn't an easy hike, but they were all distracted by the fun they were having, getting to know one another. They rested a bit and met another hiker, Emily O'Brien, an occupational therapist, who joined the group and taught her breathing exercises to help calm her. At another juncture, Troy's boots started giving him blisters. So a hiker they passed volunteered his boots, which fit Troy and were better for the hike down. After nearly 3 hours of hiking, the group, which had grown considerably, reached the trailhead. They immediately got Ursula comfortable in one of the vehicles, and the caravan embarked to Tacoma General Hospital. It turns out that Ursula had broken her tibia, fibula, and heel bone. She would need to undergo surgery a week later and receive a titanium plate and 11 screws, but she's expected to make a full recovery. The surgeon said that if she had waited 5 hours at the top of the overlook and didn't have the splint to keep her leg in one place, the damage would have been much worse. After her surgery, Ursula has been visited by her new friends several times. She says she's incredibly thankful for this team of strangers who dropped everything, worked together, and did far more than she ever expected in order to keep her safe. In fact, while she says it was a physically painful experience, in the end, it all outweighed the broken leg. One misstep, and she gained new lifelong friendships. It's encouraging what we can gain by taking good care of one another. Hey, happy Wednesday, everyone. As you know, on Wednesday I find a story from the present that's inspiring and captures people doing good things for one another. This week, it's impossible not to share what has been happening in the last several weeks in the mountains of North Carolina. This is a story that's more than just about people doing good things for one another. It captures the essence of what it means to be human. Late on September 26th, a mere 4 days after first forming in the Gulf of Mexico as a low-pressure system, Hurricane Helene made landfall in the Big Bend region of Florida as a powerful Category 4 hurricane. What made the hurricane different was the intense size and its track. After ravaging parts of Florida, the storm continued north into Georgia, and then into the western part of North Carolina, where it stalled and dumped more moisture than the area could handle near the city of Asheville. Areas in the Black Mountains region were hit the hardest, where upwards of 19 inches of rain fell in only a few hours. The water had nowhere to go. Rivers and creeks swallowed homes, mountainsides collapsed, and roadways were completely covered by debris, leaving residents trapped with no access to the outside world. The region was devastated, and the clock was ticking. Quickly, rescue teams assembled. Volunteers from all over spilled into nearby towns, gathering supplies at staging areas and planning how they would assist residents. The problem that very quickly became apparent was that with roadways blocked, they'd need to bring supplies in by air, with the help of volunteer groups like Operation Airdrop and Operation Hilo. Hundreds of helicopters were assembled to deliver much-needed supplies like diapers, food, and water to those in need. However, helicopters can only safely deliver supplies where they can land, and with the mountains of North Carolina swallowed by floods and littered with debris, it was a real problem. Many people, especially those in the more rural areas, were left trapped without access to supplies by air, and a solution was needed quickly. Luckily, the western North Carolina area is where the Mountain Mule Packer Ranch is located. They're one of the nation's most experienced high-altitude terrain pack animal supply units, and they're uniquely qualified for this exact type of mission. Originally from the Sierra Nevada mountains, the group not long ago relocated to the foothills of western North Carolina. Their mission is to train military units to use mules for dangerous high-altitude supply routes where other vehicles can't operate, so they can move weapons, equipment, medical supplies, and even wounded soldiers. Once it became clear that nearby residents needed help, Mountain Mule Packer Ranch sprang into action, cleared their calendars, and traded their military gear for essential life-saving supplies. They quickly partnered with the volunteer group Cajun Navy 2016 to set up a logistics center. They connected with residents of Black Mountain and nearby Swannanoa to bring them the exact items they needed most, traversing washed-out roadways and trails, risking their own safety from dawn to dusk, all on foot. Only time will tell how many lives this group has saved, but they're not the type of people to think much about that. For them, it's about taking care of people and staying connected to what matters most. In one video the group shared online, they were able to deliver ice to an elderly man so he could keep his much-needed insulin cold. The video shows the man walking out from his home to the Mule Packer team to receive the ice with a smile on his face. The caption read, "How many days do we take for granted the simplest things?" What a great reminder to not only take a moment to be thankful for the little things in life we forget about, like electricity and clean water, but to be thankful for where we live, because while things may not always be going our way, there are always good humans and good animals ready to deliver the help we need. All right, happy Wednesday. I remember driving on the highway when I was younger, before we had easy passes, and I was stuck in line at a toll booth. When I finally got to the booth to pay my toll, the attendant waved her hand, motioning for me to keep driving. I paused and she said, "The person in the car in front of you paid your toll. Have a great day." It took me a moment, but I knew what I had to do. So I floored my 10-year-old Honda Accord hatchback, and that didn't get me anywhere. So I was never able to catch the person and give them a smile and a thumbs up. What's funny is, it was 50 cents, probably 25 years ago, and I still haven't forgotten it. This is a story about doing something really kind without ever knowing who it will impact, and how it can have a lasting impact on them and on many others. When Emily Worthington, the owner of KC Flower Company in Kansas City, signed up for a local outdoor market called the Fall Chick Event held a few weeks ago, she saw it was a great opportunity to carry out her company's mission of bringing some joy to the community through flowers, and maybe even find a few new customers. It was a perfect early fall day, and with over 120 vendors, food trucks, and kids decorating pumpkins, there was a lot going on. And flowers are always a hit at an outdoor event in the fall, so Emily was busy. At one point, a woman she didn't know purchased a flower arrangement, and when Emily handed them to her, the woman handed them right back and said to please give them to someone who might need them today. And just like that, the woman walked away. Emily stood there, a little unsure of what to do. The woman manning the booth next to her happened to hear the entire thing, so when Emily turned to her and asked, "How do I know who to give these flowers to?" the vendor next to her said, "You'll know." Needless to say, Emily was moved. She set the flowers aside and kept working. Just as she was wrapping up her day and the event was coming to a close, a new customer approached the booth, dressed in all pink, and told Emily that she was looking for some flowers for her sister-in-law. She then asked Emily if her company made arrangements that would be good for her funeral, because her sister-in-law had just passed away from breast cancer. Immediately, Emily knew what to do. She handed her the flowers, explaining that someone had already picked them out just for her. And when she did, Emily says that she'll never forget the look on the woman's face. The next day, Emily made a post on KC Flower Company's Instagram page, telling the story and hoping that the story would make it to the woman who bought the flowers. The story spread on Instagram and was shared by several blogs. It has since inspired countless people, and all because a woman decided to spend a moment and a few dollars to make someone's day, someone she'll probably never meet. I like several things about this story. One, of course, was the random act of kindness. I also like how the flowers found the perfect home. And finally, I think it's important for us to share moments like these when they happen. And I like how Emily took time out of her day to make a post with the hopes of it making its way to the right person. But also, I like that we all got to hear it, because we need this story in our lives for balance. I recently reached out to Emily to see if she had found the woman. She said she still hadn't found her, but still hopes the woman might hear the story eventually. She says, "This is one of the many reasons I love what I do. Flowers are so powerful and bring so much joy, In this case, more than I ever knew possible. Thank you for listening. I realize this podcast won't be successful without your help. So if you'd like to rate it, or better yet, review it, wherever you get your podcasts, that would really help. And if you're on Instagram, go to @mygood3, THREE, to vote each episode up or down. I'm also excited to read more Good 3 stories from listeners. So just go to our website, mygood3.com, and submit a story of your own from the past, present, or future, or all three. And maybe I'll use it in an episode. Thanks again. Here's to hoping My Good 3 can set the stage for your good week.